In this tutorial, we're going to be talking about when statements in Kotlin. And so, real quick, just as an overview, in our last tutorial, we talked about the if statements. We have if, the text entered in this field over here is Carl. Then when we hit check name, the display result will be congratulations, it's a Carl. And you can see that over here. If text entered is equal to Carl, then we will display congratulations, it's a Carl. And so if you look down at the next else if this is Pete, we'll say congratulations, it's a Pete. So I'll do that over here. In Pete, check name, it'll say congratulations, it's a Pete. And then the final else, if you type something else, oops, sorry, not over in the code, over in the text field, type something else, it'll say, oh no, it's not a Carl. Okay, so to replace this, Kotlin has a different structure. We've got the if, the else if, and else. This is all kind of verbose. For a more simplified way, if you have a lot of conditions, you can just type in when. You have text entered. So this is basically sort of like replacing your if, else structure. So we have when, text entered, and then we can say if it's equal to Carl, then do this. Let's put display result label.text equals, and we'll say congratulations, Carl. So this right here, this when text entered and then Carl arrow display result.text, this basically replaces this if statement right here. So the nice thing about these when statements, they are very similar to switch statements in Java. So let's do another one. And we can say Pete. So when the text enters Pete, we're going to do display result label.text equals congratulations, and then we'll just say Pete. And so you can see how in these two short lines, we've replaced maybe 6 lines over here. So this is just a more efficient way of making these if, else ifs. It's sort of like Kotlin's switch statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to comment this out. So this will no longer run. And instead, we're going to run this when statement to replace it. So now when we enter Carl in this area, this text entry field, instead of saying congratulations, it's a Carl, it'll say congratulations, Carl. So I'm going to close this in the emulator, and I'm going to hit play up here to load our new version of the app in the emulator. And so, come over here, I'll type in Carl, hit check name, and now it says congratulations, Carl. So we know that this when statement is working. So when we type in Carl, it'll put Carl. When we type in Pete, we'll put in Pete. But what if we don't know what's going to be entered? We need sort of like a catch-all. And we had a catch-all with the if and else ifs down here. The catch-all was the else. And so it's actually exactly the same in with when statements. So we do else. We do else, and then we do an arrow. And then in this else block, we'll switch the display result text to equal oh no's. So we will, actually we can just hit the stop button. We'll hit play to load up the new version of the app. And I'll type in Carl. Congratulations, Carl. And then I'll type in Pete. Congratulations, Pete. And now I'll type in Danny, which we don't have in our code here, but it should trigger the else block, and it does, and it says oh no's. So you can kind of see how this when sort of relates back to the if, else if, and else. In fact, it has the exact syntax for the else, so that should keep things pretty organized in your mind, hopefully. So yeah, that's the when statement in Kotlin.